Hello. So as I promised, I'm gonna show you the rest of the thing I be working on. So I finally finished the map. This is the complete, the main board with the map. So this is what you gonna see when you play the game. Get in the details. So I put the turn sequence here. As I said, it's a kind of state of siege game, but like advanced type of state of siege game because there are lots of stuff that's going to happen in the map. So turn sequence is quite simple. Draw a card, resolve headline event, resolve call to action and or rumors, gain resource and or supply. And then action phase, use investigator or special actions on the map. Cleanup phase, clear old expired tokens. And I'm going to explain what the expired means later on when we actually start playing the game. This is where you can track your resources and supply. You can't have more than 9 resources. There will be a cube to track this, and supply you cannot carry more than 2 into next turn. So as long they, and if you get a new one, you're gonna have to discard some. So it's in your interest that you use your supply, which will be various tokens. Charm is like DRM modifiers or straight up winning the test. There will be like Elder Sign, of course, typical for these games where you just spend an Elder Sign to win a test, so you don't even have to roll a dice. Expedition to Amazon has 5 spaces. You have to traverse all of them to finish the expedition. Map you already saw. On this side, we have Expedition to Nepal, and you can see that to Amazon from France and so on, you get there, and either from Romania or from Poland, you can go through Russia to the Nepal there. There are these zones which are danger zones you can traverse on your, on your peril, because there are like lawless states. Anything can happen when you traverse them, but you actually can see the fastest ways to get from France to Germany is through this zone. Otherwise, you have to go through Italy, Austria, and then you went to Germany. Same thing if you want to quickly go from Romania to Poland. Well, if you don't want to go for Czechoslovakia, you can risk it, but depending how desperate you are. We also have these anchors, which represents the it's called seaports. So if you have a ticket for for a boat, you can quickly go from one seaport to the other. So from France, I can go, and basically, if you want to go to Great Britain, there's only way to go by the boat. And like for instance, it's like another way of fast travel. So from Germany to Romania, or from Yugoslavia, if you don't wanna, because moving on the map costs resources, but because you're paying your investigators, for the to get maybe a train or a bus or something. All right. On this side, I found a pretty nice image of a compass. Place it here just to fill in for. We have a dog on that side, so why not compass here? And I kept the map below, like you investigating something. And here's a cult, 3 cults that I just, from my mind, they're not in any books of Lovecraft. As I said, I like to add my flair to it. I don't want, like Lovecraft set the like stage. You can just make from there anything you want. So we have 3 cults in the Europe: Red Hand, Nebel Crows, and Stotevilag, or Stote Village. I don't know how it's pronounced. It's basically German and the Turco-German cult. Red Hand is basically probably from the South Slavia, but they are spread up all the way to Europe, and these are from Hungary, so that we like. You can check what they mean if you if you like put them in the Google Translate. Monster Hunt. This is where you place a monster you're hunting, and you actually need police or military force, because monsters are not easy to kill. Like you can try it with just an investigator if you maybe have some kind of weapon in supply, but they are usually rolls above 6, or around 6. So you will need to get a good hunting party, because every unit will give you some pluses to your roll, you know, and you can still fail. And then everybody who are hunting the monster, the kill count goes from first your forces like police and how called soldiers, and then if you have to apply even more damage, then it's you investigate, because they can also die. All right, so that's the board. So that, oops, let's keep the board here. Oh, what did I do? All right, let's go to the cards. All right, so this is the basic. We put this in with the screen. So this is a basic card for event card, and there will be like 50 of them, around 50. I'm thinking to just make a deck of cards, 54 cards. Like it's kind of standard deck if you count the jokers. 4 cards will be used for game setup, so you will be different game setups and different ways how you can get to the clues. So that's gonna set the board and the stage, and like think of it like a campaign, like 4 campaigns. And other 50 cards will be split in 3. Act 1, Act 2, and Act 3. And of course, as you progress through the acts, they will get more and more difficult. Now, what you see here is just a template, so don't think that this creature here will be in Act 1 or anything. But this is just to give you a feel how everything looks like. So this border here I made in the Corel, this that goes around, it was simple, just few lines, and you know, keeping with the Art Deco theme of the 1920s. So I put the number in here, and it's all on the layer. So for instance, card numbers are here. I can just clear them or leave them there. So I have to number all the cards, resources on below. So basically, it's all card from up to down. First the event, and cult actions, and maybe some supplies, and then resources and maybe some supplies. So like for instance, here it says another victim of a vicious killer. 5th man has been killed in a small city of Reims, France. As with previous victims, the gruesome murder has been done near the Baudet 92. And then it says place in France, and these are the monster tokens. Actually, we have this here enlarged. So the monster tokens, and these ones are just for place them on the cards. The regulars which I'm going to put on Tabletop Simulator will not have these bevel borders, because you don't have to do that. Tabletop Simulator is going to do that for you. So they will be just regular images. I don't have to use PNGs, although I could, but I mean, don't have to actually. So this icon on the top here means it's timeless, so it's not going to expire from the map. Usually during the cleanup phase, anything that doesn't have this icon on the top right corner, you just clean it up from the board and go to the second turn. So that can affect your, like, maybe there is a witness in Italy which gonna expire, but if so, you're thinking, should I go there, or maybe someone's gonna stay there for as long you go there, and you know, all things on the map can be like going from turn to turn, and they're just gonna be cleanup. And on the bottom left is actually a skill that gives you +1 DRM if you have it while fighting this monster. So in this case, if you have investigator with the willpower skill, good, you have a +1 DRM. But that's not gonna, I mean, it's gonna be a little help, but not that much. On the other side of these tokens is the strength of the monster, which you can check out, of course, and you will have to flip it when you do a monster house. And as I said, Yeah, so different skill will help you with the monster hunt, and you need, as I said, also some units to help you out. So I will use these to place on the cards because I just make them smaller, and basically on the card I'm putting the image of the token itself, so it's going to be easier to find it. Although, you know what, maybe I should just name it also, because on the other side would be the name of the monster and its strength. So maybe I should put here, just find the text. Let's write just please. Let's call it let's do it like this. Okay, Shambler. Yeah, it's Humbler. Yeah, that's actually good. Or yeah, I have to rely on the Adobe Photoshop text for spelling the English words because I don't know them all. But let's call this Eternity Shambler in France. Or I could actually call it Dimensional Shambler. I don't know. Oops. Yeah, Dimensional Shambler. Let me just check. Is it okay? Okay. So each country will have its own monster. So, for instance, if there is a witch in Hungary, it's never going to be in France. So they actually placed they have their country of origin. So, and when they pop up, they are bad news because if you're in that state and you rolling for something, you have a -1 DRM on your rolls. So I mean, there are some cards that's gonna say just monster attack, and if there is investigator there, he's killed off, or you have to roll for something. But you eventually want to remove them from the map because they're just gonna be a nuisance. Okay, here on the central part of the card is basically cult, which is represented with these green cubes, so I'm just gonna use them, and just tells you where on the map to place and how many cubes. And I make two templates. So for instance, I have this one, so it's never going to be more than 2 cubes, so 1 to 2 cubes, and then it could be multiple states. Like if you see this could be also, if you check the map, there are like these round numbers, that's a major states with major cities, and this cube numbers, like box numbers, they are smaller states with the cities that are not important for your story that much, but they can also affect the playthrough. So that's why you see here, like this is just a template. So for instance, if I want to remove something, I just hide it. For instance, if I need like one major state, so for instance, I can put like two, let's say 1 cube. This would be in 1 cube, let's say in Italy. Italy is number 5. 1 cube is, let me see this, So let's say one in Yugoslavia and one in Romania. So it would be like one here and 5 here. And then I just take the whole thing and center. And this is how I basically can change this multiple times to the cards. It's all manual, but it gives you more, you know, I have a control of everything and how tough I want to make something. So this could be like put one cube in, let's see, one in Italy, one in Yugoslavia, one in Romania. That would mean on the card. And below there are sometimes going to be text that sometimes just going to be like a text that's going to tell you gain this into supply, or just I could just put the token here. In this case, there is it says if strength of the Nebel Cruise, yeah. So this one has like if strength of Nebel Cruise is less than 3, place one random investigator in France. And here will be dice. So cult strength will be rise as the cultists, you know, the more cultists, more strength they have. You'll see how that works. So you could actually affect this with some actions, like political actions, to, you know, remove the corruption from a state and stuff like that. In this case, it would say if it's less than 3, place one random investigator in France, which is good because normally you have to employ investigators and that costs resources. This thing, like, as long the cult is low, you just get the investigator in France. And it's thematic because, you know, Chambler in France and now we have investigator in France, so you can use it. He can help you, like maybe he was involved in this story or something like that. And the last thing on the bottom is just resources, how much resources you get. And this means one resource plus d6, meaning you're going to get one and you're going to roll a die and get additional. Then you're going to spend them during your turn. There is no transfer resources from turn to turn. So basically, if you don't spend them, they're gone. So that's how it works. Because turn is, think of it like a maybe a week. So through the weeks, you're gonna do stuff with your investigator and try to keep the Europe safe, you know, from all these cultists and monsters and things that's gonna happen around. And eventually, in the Act 2, there will be a card that will open up the expeditions. And then you would have to work for the gold. Basically, Act 1 is like intro. Bad things gonna happen to the Europe. From Act 2, there is actually a chance you can win if you survive that much by that time. So in Act 2, expedition's gonna open and they will be able to go to Amazon and Nepal, and that's actually how you win the game. That's a true win of the game. You can also win the game just by surviving till the deck runs out, but it's not a real win. It's like it's just gonna be how much bad Europe is, depending how many cultists will be on the board and the monsters, and, you know, depending on the cult strength and all of that, you will get some number of negative points, and then you're just gonna read the story like, you know, Europe just crumbled. You didn't do much of a good job. True win, which happen immediately, is when you finish your expedition to Amazon and when you finish your expedition to Nepal. There will be a token here that will just gonna pop up, and then you will be able to send an investigator on one of your investigator on expedition. And because expedition needs investigator to go with it, otherwise it can't progress. And then you're gonna try to use action of that investigator. He's gonna be locked up there, but by that time I'm hoping you're also gonna employ more investigators to help you out. So, like, if you have your investigator locked up on the expedition and no one to keep the Europe safe, well, that's not going to be good for your well-being. And you're going to progress from point to point using an action, die rolls. And if you finish your Amazon expedition and if you finish your Nepal expedition, by the end of that turn, you win. So that's the only valuable, valid win option. Lose conditions are really bad. For instance, having, maybe I would use a pandemic rule when if you have to place a cultist and you can't, you lose the game. Maybe, I'm not so sure about that, we'll see. But definitely lose condition if 3 of the 5 main cities, like if London, Paris, Rome, Berlin, and Warsaw, if 3 of those cities are corrupt by the end of the turn, you lose immediately. Like the cultists just got a hold up of the half of Europe, and there is no way you can win for that. And by the way, having the cities under corruption will affect the number of resources you get. So basically, every city under corruption is -1 resource. Now with these, let's call them smaller cities, like it's a bit different. They can get corrupt, but the problem is if they are corrupt and you in that state, you will have a minus DRM to dice rolls. So like it's going to be tougher because the corrupt government is working against you, and that applies to all the dice rolls. Like if you're hunting monster there, -1. If you want to get police or soldiers for your monster hut, -1. If you want to do, I don't know, maybe try to investigate some kind of if you want to fight a cult, -1. So everything, any action you're doing, that's going to be -1. And of course, if all the smaller cities are corrupt, then you also lose the game. But there are much more of them, and you should try work out, otherwise this part of Europe will be gone. And another loose condition is if you don't have any investigators on the board by the end of your turn. So if they're all dead or gone or something happened. So as I said, lots of loose conditions, only 1 win. We'll see how that's gonna work all together. I think it's gonna work quite fine because you will have resources from turn to turn, and you will be able to, you will have lots of options. So as I said, it's not a typical state of siege game, because in this you will have really lots of options to do for. And as with all those games, limited action and limited resources, you will not be able to do everything, but so you will have to decide where to go, and with those dice rolls, of course, it could be also fail. So yeah, usually these games are pretty tough. All right, so I show you the cards. Do I need to show you anything else? Let me see. Oh yeah, let me show you card backs. So I made a card back. Here it is. And this is how they're gonna look like for the event cards. Put the name of the game there, Shadows over Europe. We have a really nice Art Deco, like a border, and there is a little Cthulhu. I find a pretty nice image of Cthulhu. Let me show you. Usually I open the assets a directory and place everything I can find on the internet that can be useful. So monster images, investigator images, all kind of things. I found this Gala card from which I use then to make the border. It's turned to this. So that's the process, because it's gonna go in Tabletop Simulator. Gives me ability to make a really nice looking mode, and it gives a feel of the game. So for instance, let's say someone take this to publish, he would already see how it should look like, and then can base the real artwork on that, because these are all placeholders. I cannot use that to sell a game or anything. It's just like for a nice Tabletop Simulator mode. Not all the images are free to use. Anyway, so that's my plan for now. I can already, once I made all the little tokens, I can already start making cards. Once I finish the cards, tokens will be already finished, so it's gonna be really easy to just transfer everything to Tabletop Simulator and just go and play the game, see how everything works, and then I can go back and change something, because once I have this template, even if I export this as a JPEG for, you know, for making cards later on, I can always go back and just say, you know, card number 12, something doesn't work there, it's too much. I'll just open a template and check the card number 12, write everything again, you know, on the card how it was, and then just change some things and export that card again, and that's it. Just like once you have a template, it's just a standard work of input your variables, input your text, whatever you need to change on the card, and, you know, work on the balance. Okay, so that's it for the video. Thank you for watching, and the rest you will see as I progress. Again, if you like my content, please, you don't have to subscribe. I mean, I'm not gonna ask you that. This channel is not for money or anything, but it would be good if you put some comments at least, you know, because then someone else gonna see my work also, and I will be able to, you know, at least get some satisfaction that people are interested in, at least. Anyway, see you next time, and goodbye.